The wire hits at 2:47 p.m. on a Thursday. $103,200,000. Net of the broker's M&A advisory fee of $2.4 million. Net of legal fees of $800,000, before taxes. You look at the number on your screen for 11 minutes. Not because you can't believe it. Because you have to think very carefully about what you are about to do next. And you already know that the next 72 hours are going to be the most financially consequential hours of your life. Level 1, Hour 0. The wire hits. The moment before the phone starts ringing. You founded the company 11 years ago. You owned 62% of the equity at the time of sale. The rest was held by 2 venture capital funds who invested in the Series A and Series B rounds and a key employee option pool that accelerated on the transaction. Your gross proceeds, $103.2 million. Your federal capital gains tax liability on the long-term gain, approximately $23 million, assuming a full long-term capital gains rate of 20% plus the 3.8% net investment income tax on the full gain above your basis, plus state income tax in a high-tax jurisdiction, an additional $10 million. Net of all taxes, approximately $70 million. $70 million. The number your financial identity will reorganize around. The number that is, in a meaningful sense, more money than you know what to do with, because you have never made a $70 million decision before, and the skills that built the company are not the same skills required to steward capital for the next 40 years. In the next 72 hours, you will receive contact from a number of financial advisors, wealth managers, and financial institutions that you did not contact. They knew about the transaction before you received the wire. Some of them know the exact number. The financial ecosystem around liquidity events has information flows that most founders never anticipate, and the professionals who reach you first are not necessarily the ones whose interests are most aligned with yours. Level 2. The first 72 hours. The most dangerous window. The first instinct. Move fast. You've been conditioned by a decade of startup culture where speed is a virtue, indecision is a liability, and momentum matters. In wealth management, this instinct will cost you. The first 72 hours after a liquidity event are a window in which decisions feel urgent, but almost nothing actually is. The tax decision is urgent. Before you deploy a single dollar of proceeds, you need a qualified tax advisor to determine whether there are any transactions that can reduce the current year tax liability. Qualified opportunity zone investments allow a temporary deferral of capital gains taxes if proceeds are invested in a qualified opportunity zone fund within 180 days of the sale. Charitable remainder unitrusts allow you to contribute appreciated assets, including pre-close stock, in some structures, and receive an income stream while taking a partial charitable deduction. Section 1202 qualified small business stock exclusion may apply to some or all of your gain if the company meets the eligibility criteria. These strategies have hard deadlines. They cannot be implemented retroactively. Everything else can wait. Level 3, Month 1. Building the advisor team. Who actually advises you? You need 4 people before you need a portfolio. A tax attorney, not a CPA, a JD qualified attorney specializing in UHNW tax planning. A trust and estate attorney to establish the initial structure before any capital is deployed, because structures established with cash are more straightforward than structures established after you've made investment decisions that created tax basis complications. An investment advisor with a fiduciary standard, legally obligated to act in your interest, not a broker who operates under a suitability standard. And a psychologist who specializes in sudden wealth transitions. That last recommendation is not optional. Sudden wealth creates specific and well-documented psychological disruptions. Relationship dynamics shift, identity realigns, decision-making capacity is temporarily impaired by the novelty and magnitude of the situation. The research on sudden wealth syndrome is unambiguous. The people who perform best in the first 2 years are the ones who treat the psychological transition as seriously as the financial one. Most people who receive a life-changing liquidity event make their worst financial decisions in the first year, not because they're unsophisticated, but because nobody told them what actually comes next. That's what this channel is for. Subscribe, like this video, and share it with a founder you know who is anywhere near a liquidity event. What comes next could change their outcome. Level 4, Year 1. Deployment strategy. Turning proceeds into a portfolio. The $70 million net proceeds are held in a money market fund earning 5.1% while you complete the advisor team and establish the initial legal structure. The opportunity cost of not deploying immediately into a diversified portfolio is real, but it is smaller than the cost of deploying into the wrong structure or the wrong allocation before you have thought clearly about what you actually need this capital to do. The investment policy statement you eventually adopt answers 5 questions. First, what is the capital's purpose? Growth, income, preservation, or legacy? Second, what is your actual liquidity requirement? How much do you need access to in the next 12 months, the next 3 years, the next decade? Third, what is your true risk tolerance? Not the risk tolerance you report on a questionnaire, but the drawdown you can sustain without making a panic-driven decision. Fourth, what is your tax situation, and how should asset location, which accounts hold which assets, be optimized to minimize the lifetime tax burden? Fifth, what is the governance structure? Who decides, who advises, and how are conflicts resolved? Level 5, Year 3. The system is operating. What wealth management actually feels like. 3 years after the wire hit, the capital is deployed. The initial structure, a combination of a revocable living trust, 2 irrevocable trusts for the benefit of your children, a donor-advised fund holding $4 million in appreciated assets, and a family limited partnership holding the private investment portfolio, is in place and operating. Your tax attorney files returns that look nothing like your pre-liquidity returns. Your trust officer sends quarterly statements. You have $64 million invested, 45% in a direct index global equity portfolio, 20% in private credit funds across 2 vintages, 15% in private equity fund commitments across 3 managers, 10% in real assets including 2 real estate investments and a farmland fund, and 10% in short-duration fixed income and cash equivalents as a liquidity buffer and dry powder for opportunities. The annualized after-tax return over 3 years, 8.3%. The capital base has grown from $70 million to approximately $88 million, net of the distributions you've taken for living expenses and the charitable contributions made through the donor-advised fund. Something else has happened in 3 years. You've started to understand what capital management actually is. Not as a product. Not as a service. As a discipline. One that takes a decade to begin to master. You are 3 years in. One liquidity event can build a family's wealth. But one generation cannot protect it. The families that have preserved capital across not just 2 generations, not just 3, but 4 and 5 and beyond, they did not do it with superior investment returns alone. They did it by building systems that outlasted the individual intelligence of any one person. The Dynasty. That is the final video in this month's series, and it is the one that everything else has been building toward.